What is going on, guys? My name is Mehul and welcome to your 40th AngularJS tutorial, in which we'll be looking at link property of the directive definition object. Now, in the last tutorial I discussed some of the common properties, but there's a special property and it's kinda interesting and fun to write with, and that is the link property. Now, the link property basically works with the DOM of your page, so it controls how your view is modified. So let's get started with a simple example. So we already have this my first script, and then let's just jump to the script, and inside the return what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add another property known as link, and I'm just gonna supply it as a function. Let's just name it link function. Now this link function, let's just create this link function, and where would we create this? We'll create this right here. So link function, okay, and what this accepts is it accepts three arguments. The first one is scope, the second one is element, and the scope is the scope similar which we make use of here. The element is the element, it returns the reference to that element on which this directive is applied. So for example, if I have like div, my first directive, and div, then this element contains the reference to this div right here. Then the third one is the ATTRS, or the attributes. Now this contains all the information about the attributes, the additional attributes like the class or ID or whatever. Here it is. So inside here what I'm gonna do is simply I'm just gonna say element, which is the element right here, dot bind click, and we can make use of this thing right here because Angular by default makes use of a library called JQLite, and as you can see this is from JQLite only, the bind one. And if you are using jQuery, then also there's no problem, because JQLite is just a, you can say, a subset of jQuery. So on click, what I want to do is, obviously this is the traditional JavaScript, I just want to say element, or just alert element dot inner HTML. Let's try this out. Okay, and let's just add something here. Oh no, okay, we already have the template, so this is not required. So let's just reload this, and we have added kind of a click event right here. Okay, let's try this out, and as you can see it returns undefined right now. Or just console log that first to see what properties are available. So we get the div, and inside this 0, okay, so it kinda returns an array. Oh yeah, so surely it would return an array. So if I do like element 0, then how does it look like? So it now kinda works. And if I add, I wonder if I add another element right here and remove this, then let's just see what happens. Okay, so right now they are sharing the same scope, which we'll be looking at how to make them isolated, but that's not the concern for this tutorial. So let's just get back to the work, and right here we can just do something like that. Okay, so that kinda works. Okay, so now let's just try to do something interesting with this link function, and to do that let's just say I want to modify the text inside this whenever this is clicked. So right now we are just console logging this, but what if I want to modify the text? And to do that, let's just make use of some code. Let's just get rid of all of this code right here. Okay, and let's just create this code, a bit of code from the scratch. So I'm just gonna say function link function and scope element, and either of that will work. Either you can type dollar or without dollar, so that will work, because eventually what is happening is these three arguments are being populated by the compile function of AngularJS, but we don't need to worry about that. And right here what I'm gonna say is scope dot name is hello world, and I'm just gonna say scope dot change name is a function name, and scope dot name is name, or let's just say new name. Alright, so now let's just create a directive definition object. So return restrict restrict ea or whatever, and the next thing you would like to have is the link property, obviously link, and this is link function, and the next thing is the template. For now, let's just say this is hello world, or just let's just say this is current text is name. Okay, so what is happening here is that we are first of all creating a scope.name property in here with the link function, and we have created a change name here as well. And the next thing I can do is I can just bind this ng-click change name and span tag. Okay, now let's just try it out on the browser and see what happens. So let's just reload. Scope is not defined. Oh, okay. So you see current text is hello world, and when I click on this, the current text, okay, so current text is, let's just say hey there, and let's reload. As you can see, it changes to hey there. So far so good, but what happens when you have the multiple controllers or the multiple elements with the same directive? Now what happens is when I click one, it changes everybody. So what is happening here is that all of these directives are sharing the same scope. Now this is something I would like to cover in a separate tutorial, so I'm just gonna end my tutorial right here, and we'll be doing that in the next one. And if you liked it, then don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.